So after a bit of PayPal drama in which someone stole a lot of my money, I decided, after getting a refund, to treat myself. And that treat was Massive Darkness. I've been after this game a while, especially the Kickstarter All-In. I just couldn't find it for a reasonable price, or kept losing my bids basically. Anyway, I dropped lucky and picked this up for a very cheap price. And I have to say, I'm impressed. It was basically brand new. The component quality is sensational, especially the plastic components that you got from the Kickstarter. And the gameplay is magnificent. Basically, Zombicide with generic fantasy monsters like evil dwarves, goblins, bandits and rat men. You set up one of the scenarios in the rulebook, open doors, and dependent on how far you progress, you can get better gear and stronger enemies. There are two types of enemies, regular mobs which spawn when you open the doors, and giant roaming monsters that spawn with event cards. The models for these are amazing, ranging from giant spiders to a cyclops. These guys are very tough, have game-changing abilities at times which make them near impossible to kill without good gear, and never let up the chase if you run. The game is at its best when these awesome models hit the board, and it's a shame they haven't got an ability to spawn when you open the door, as I would have liked the chance to use more of these models. The only way they hit the board is during the events phase, and that is like a 6 in 20 chance, which is a shame, as they should be mini bosses for your heroes to overcome. The monsters and mobs do get stronger as you go through higher zones, and with it always being a random card draw, you never know what your heroes will face next. In terms of the heroes though, they are the same old generic fantasy warriors you always find, like barbarians, mages, dwarves, rogues. The heroes all have a special ability they can use every activation, and they also have a shadow skill, which can be used when you're on one of the tiles without a lit torch on it. Some of these can be pretty strong and really help damage the enemy or buff your allies. My only issue is some of the Kickstarter heroes are a little bit strong, like the wizard who looks like Saruman, making two-handed magic weapons one-handed, thus allowing you to take two-handed magic weapons and basically be an uber super duper wizard. The heroes get to choose a class at the start of the game, which is how you level up and get better. The heroes all have a recommended class, be it wizard, barbarian, archer, assassin, but you can basically be any class you like. It just might not gel well with a barbarian looking model who fancies themselves the next Robin Hood. Now there are two types of game systems built in which you level up differently. There is a regular one-shot mode, which is basically Zombicide. You set up the scenario, do the objective and gain XP for kills, moving through the dungeon, gaining better loot to help you. Or you can play the campaign mode, which feels very tacked on and isn't fun at all. Basically you play every scenario over a long period of time, but you gain mini XP this time around, and it takes 5 mini XP to gain 1 XP, as you would normally. Now what this means is as you get through the various levels in the early game, you are basically always on the back foot. And if you come across a stronger enemy than you have gear for, you're kinda knackered. And with only 2 lives per game, that is a group cap for all heroes, you find yourself struggling unless you get very lucky on mobs, loot and dice. But if for some reason you do survive your first game, all of a sudden, your guys are now gods, mowing every mob and monster down on first try. It's just not a very good system personally, and I think you should stick to just the one-shots, as that does seem to be the best experience. Props to the plastic dashboards though, as it was much easier to swap out items, move XP, and is much better than the old Zombicide XP trackers I was used to. Other things I do like are the dice cap of 3 per colour, which determines the strength of your weapon and defense. This, combined with the right skill add-ons you purchase with XP, can make or break your character, and it just felt very Diablo. In fact, this game feels like Diablo on the tabletop, and for me, that was exactly what I was after. In fact, I would go as far as to say that this is by far the best dungeon crawler I own for fantasy. Doom does a great job for sci-fi, but the main reason I prefer this to Dark Souls, for instance, is the loot system, because loot levels with ya. There are 5 levels of loot, and special artifacts have their own system. You draw from the loot cards as you go through the dungeon levels, and that means you are constantly able to use what you pick up and trade with others. Dark Souls, for instance, biggest weakness is its loot system, as the grind to upgrade is far too strong and unforgiving. This game nails the loot, and in a dungeon crawler, that is a big plus. My only criticisms, like I said previously, is the campaign mode and strong exclusive guys, but I also don't like CMON as a company who just ditch products and don't restock stuff that people want. So many of the booster packs and expansions for this game in particular, and also Black Plague, which you can use in this game, are now out of production, and that is a massive shame. Sort your stuff out, CMON. People want to buy it, they are writing so on the forums. Overall though, this is an amazing game, and I highly recommend seeing if you can pick up a Kickstarter edition for the extras, especially since some of what I now own are now OOP. And I think personally, base game, just this as a box, without these extras, costing between 100 and 120 quid online, just might not be worth it. It's a great solo and group experience, but if you are playing solo, I would suggest putting 4 heroes on the board and controlling them all, as one solo hero is a bit lacking. 4 heroes seems to be the sweet spot, but I've been running 6 lately for an extra challenge. Playthroughs of this game are something I would like to bring to the channel if people are interested, so let me know in the comments below. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.